Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Me First Mornings. I am your host and energy alchemist, Patricia Ribeiro-Wolfson. I'm an intuitive coach, an energy healer, a wife, and a mom to 3 boys. And my mission is to help you, number 1, calibrate your energy. Number 2, how to integrate self-care into easy, doable steps. And number 3, how to shine your light on the world in your own unique way, because that is what you're supposed to do. And today we are going to be talking about how to get through the messy stages, the in-between stages of transformation, because we all know it can get super, super messy out there, right? We have all these thoughts and dreams and visions of what we want in our future and where we are now. I mean, even if we are on the path to what we want, the transformation that happens between where we are and where we want to be, depending on what your exact vision is, it can be a lot, right? It can be really heavy. It can have so many different challenges and obstacles that you face, and it can be a really, really messy and hard time. So how do you continue? How do you get through it? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit on the show today, because it's really, really important that you stay on track. And using the GPS formula that I talk about a lot on this show is one way to keep you on track and to get you through those messy moments. And so the one thing that I will say, because it's on the top of mind right now, is that using the GPS system, so those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, you can download the workbook. It's a free GPS workbook, and that will help you choose a word, a phrase. It's really just an anchor so that you can get a clear vision for what you want in the future, the feeling that you're looking for in the future, whether that is peace, abundance, connection, spaciousness. I mean, there could be so many words that, of course, only you can figure out what works for yourself, right? It has to be something that you connect with, that's in alignment with your higher self. And so you pick that feeling, what you're looking for. And the idea is that you integrate that into each and every part of your life, and especially during the messy times, because in the messy times, that is the opportunity that we have to sort of steer the boat and make sure that we are staying focused and on task. You know, when you're in the middle of a storm, you have to kind of like make sure that you're staying still on target, right? You don't want to get taken by the waves or by the tumultuousness of everything going on, whether it's, weather or people in your life that are trying to get you sidetracked from what your vision is. It is at the times that things are the toughest, the times where the challenges seem the greatest, when you feel like the weight is overwhelming, that is the exact time where you really need to hunker down and really integrate as much as possible your vision, your feeling, and bring in that GPS word, bring in what you're looking for in your life, and use that in order to move forward. So, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if your ultimate goal is peace in your life, then solving your problems through anger or through fighting is not going to bring you the peace, right? So what you need to do is you need to figure out how to bring peace to your life. But now let me also say that sometimes, in order to bring peace into our lives, we have to set boundaries. And when we are setting those boundaries, we can have sort of it can be really difficult, right? There can be sort of fighting involved, where it's like really just solidifying your boundaries and making sure that you are steadfast with your asks, with your boundaries, making sure that people are not stepping over you, or that you are not stepping over yourself, or you are not dismissing your own wants and needs. You have to stay really strong and firm if you want to stay on track for what you want. And so that's something that I really just want to leave with you, that it's not when I say that you need to integrate peace into your life, and you absolutely do, sometimes in order to bring peace, things need to get a little messy and loud in the meantime, right? Sometimes standing your ground can feel like the opposite of peace, but that's why you need to think of the future, right? And you have to think, okay, I'm looking for peace, but you don't want to be, it's really a balance, because you don't want to just be in fight mode, right? Let's just say, because it feels right to say that. You don't want to just be in fight mode to gain your peace, right? What you want to do is peace needs to be your priority, or whatever that word is, peace or freedom or whatever needs to be the priority. And then you need to figure out the most peaceful way to bring that into your life. You need to create the space for peace. And right, and creating the space for peace sometimes is setting up the boundaries and being really firm and not allowing anybody to step within those boundaries. And that is sometimes where you really need to speak up or get loud or, get into that sort of fight mode where you're like, nope, this is it. And you set the boundary and you stay firm, but in a peaceful and compassionate way as much as possible. Okay, so that's just to give you a little idea of where we're headed with this conversation. I think it's time for us to do the Me First Morning ritual, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that and pull cards, or pull a card to figure out what does Spirit say about, how to keep going when things get messy. All right, here we go. Oh, good morning, Mom. Thank you for being here. Okay, just getting my stuff ready. So here we go. Let's light our candle. There we go. I feel like I need some music. I got to solve that problem. All right, light that candle. Let's use some essential oils and get our day started. So for those of you who are new to the show, we like to do this, or I like to lead people through this morning ritual for us to get centered and grounded and to set our intentions for the day before we begin. And we do this together because this way, I know I'll do it every day is if I come on here and do it with you guys. And maybe that will keep you also consistent, because you can show up and do it along with us here on Me First Mornings. All right, so let's do a little let's do some essential oils. Woo, love that smell. Love it, love it, love it. All right, and now that we've done that, oh, this candle, I think I need to trim the wick a little bit. Look at this thing. It's like, whoa, it's like a flame. All right. I'm going to grab my clear quartz crystals. You feel free to grab a crystal or just watch. You can also just put your hands face down, face up, or in a mudra as we take 3 deep breaths together. And so this process in this morning ritual, what I talk about each day is that what we want to do is we want to, cleanse and clear our channel, right? We're clearing our vessel. So our body, our minds, this is the vessel where we receive connection with Spirit, right? Where the energy flows through us, the information flows through us, right? This is our connection to Source. So we are clearing our vessel, we are connecting to Source, and we are charging up for the day, right? And so this is the time that during these 3 deep breaths that we take together, we are going to take the energy from the sun, right? And that earth, like life force energy also from the earth, because as I like to say, we are made of stardust and earth dust, which is dirt. So stardust and dirt. And so we take this time in the morning to really just focus on allowing our resources, right? The resource, that energy from the sun, and the resource being the earth, to enter through our bodies energetically and just charge us up for the day so that we can charge up with the energy that makes us up, right? That makes up who we are. So we're going to do that. The first thing is I want you to imagine that the top of your head is just kind of open. Just open up and imagine that that's liquid sunshine is just pouring through your head. And then that same liquid sunshine is going to go down through your head and then just permeate every single part of your body. I want you to imagine your entire body filling with light, every single cell filling with light and just shining bright. And it is also going to dissipate or, sort of make disappear any stuck, stagnant, or dense energy. It's just going to kind of break it apart. And then when you exhale, you are going to release any of that energy that does not serve you, that's now been broken apart, and you're going to release it out into the atmosphere and allow Mother Nature to recycle it for the highest and greatest good of all. All right, here we go. Deep breath in. We're going to hold for 5 seconds and then release, releasing all of the feelings, of the emotions, of the trapped energy that doesn't serve us, and we're going to let it go. All right, here we go. Deep breath in and hold and release. Okay, good. Now your feet well planted on the ground, and I want you to imagine that your feet are like kind of on the earth, and the earth is like a charger. You know those mag chargers you put your phone on, right? That's your feet on the ground is like a mag charger, and I want you to feel the energy coming up through the earth, that same life force energy that helps the flowers and the plants just burst through the ground in the spring, which here we are in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in springtime. And so I want you to just imagine that energy and those roots coming up through the bottom of your feet and going through your whole body and just grounding you in that solidness, in that earthly, beautiful energy that makes us up as well. And so you have this heavenly energy and this earthly energy filling your whole body. All right, here we go. Deep breath in and begin with your feet and imagine those roots coming up and just also getting rid of any stuck, stagnant, or dense energy that may exist in your body. Here we go. And hold. And release. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, one last breath, and I want you to really make it count. We're going to take a huge, huge deep breath. Once again, I want you to imagine that your breath is inflating your wings, okay? I just want you to imagine it, whether it makes sense to you or not, that's okay. If it doesn't work for you and you don't want to do it, that's okay too. But that's how I imagine this final deep breath. We are just stretching out as though we had wings, and I want you to fill that with air, with the air that you are filling your lungs with, that capacity to stretch and increase the love and light that you allow within your body, okay? And I want you to spread those light wings in the back if you can with your imagination, all right? Let's do this one last deep breath together. Once again, we will hold our breath and then release any and all things that don't serve us, asking Mother Nature to recycle anything that doesn't serve us and transmute all of our energy into the highest and greatest good of all. All right, here we go. And hold. And release. Whew, beautiful. All right, time to put the crystals down. And now we'll do a little bit of that stretching, okay? So just as we sort of cleansed our energy from within, we are also going to do the same thing a little bit with our bodies, right? And we do that stretching to release any of the stuck, stagnant energy, that's in our muscles. And we're loosening things up because we want to increase the flow. We want to remove any blockages that might exist in our body. Any tension or discomfort that exists is just energy sort of balled up. And we want to release that as much as possible. So whatever stretching you can do is great. I always stretch my neck and my head because that's where I have most of my tension. But if you have it in other places, or if you can stand up, because for me, if I stand up, it's going to be a whole thing here. Feel free to address any and all parts of your body that need some relief. Okay. Ooh. And of course, if you have an especially painful point, make sure that you are breathing through it and allow your breath and just focus your breath on that spot. Okay, and release. And as you are stretching it out, release your breath as well, and it will help you to release that stagnant and stuck energy. Okay, and now we shake it out, just like our dogs when they move from one spot to the other and they need to sort of shake off the energy of their stagnation. We are shaking it off too here on Me First Mornings. Okay, and now we are done. So the next part of our process, of course, is we're going to say our Me First Morning prayer together, which is setting the intentions for the day. So you can use the GPS word. For those of you, once again, who have not yet accessed the free GPS workbook, here it is. Also, for those of you who have not yet subscribed to my YouTube page, Jumpstart for Change, I ask that you do that now. Go ahead and just subscribe and ding that notification bell and spread the word to anyone else who you think may benefit from watching Me First Mornings with me. All right, so let's move on to our Me First Morning prayer. So think about how you want to navigate your day. What is the feeling that you want to encompass in your day? How do you want to move through the day? And that is the intention that you'll set, and we'll ask for help from your spiritual support team. All right, so here we go. Divine Mother, Infinite Father, Creator, Ascended Masters, Archangels, Spirit Guides, Ancestors, and all beings of 100% pure white light, allow me to be a clear and open channel of your light and love without hesitation or ego. May the highest vibration of infinite consciousness connect with my higher self and release any and all things that no longer serve me. I ask that Saint Germain and his infinitely powerful violet flame burn away the things that no longer serve myself or humanity and hold us back from a divine existence. Help us to embody our intentions for the day and help us raise the collective vibration for the highest and greatest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is. Thank you, thank you. I love it. All right, now I'm going to pull a card. Let's see, what are we doing? Getting through tough things. I think I'm going to do a Keepers of the Light card again today. I know I usually do the Enchanted Map, but I'm feeling Kyle Gray today, especially because I feel like as we navigate the challenges that we're faced with in life, we often look to, support, right? That will be the time where maybe we rely on our spiritual beliefs, our religious beliefs, where we sort of ask for help from God or the angels or, your ancestors. When things are really, really tough, that is when you tend to dive deeper into your spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs. And so I think that pulling a card from the Keepers of the Light, who, are the light beings that help us through those tough times, I think is an appropriate deck to do that with. I love you, Linda. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, so let's talk about tough times, okay? The healing journey is not a straightforward journey. There is no definitive path that will lead you to a fully healed and fulfilling life, as I wrote on my post today. There are obstacles and detours and challenges. Some things are within your control, and many, if not most, are completely out of your control, and they require your complete surrender. And that's really tough, right? Because we've been raised to believe that basically absolutely everything that happens is our fault. We've been raised to believe that, not in an empowering way, but yet in a disempowering way. Like, if you don't succeed, it's because you don't work hard enough. If you do not achieve the things that you want, it's because you're not worthy or you don't deserve it, or, once again, you haven't worked hard enough. And that's not the case. We are all very, very worthy of our desires. Each one of us, it doesn't matter who you are, what your status is, what your experience is in life, what you've done or you haven't done to yourself or others, right? We all deserve that. We all deserve God's grace. And most importantly, and where that begins, is to give ourselves grace. So that's number one, is that no matter what you're going through in your life, if you are going through a difficult moment, it is not a punishment. It is not because you don't deserve happiness or you don't deserve the things that you are looking to do in your life or the things that you want in your life. It is not because you are not worthy of achieving your dreams. Most, if not all of the times that we are in the midst of challenge or challenges, it is an opportunity for us to flex our strengths, right? It is an opportunity for us to step into this version of ourselves that can handle all that stuff, right? This is the time where you have to double down on trust and faith and know that if you stay on target, if you stay on task, right, then things will unfold exactly as they need to. So that's the first thing that I want to say, is that even if you're going through a really rough time and it feels like you've been abandoned by your friends, by your family, by your spiritual support team, you have not been abandoned. In fact, what's usually happening is incredible transformation. When you're going through the toughest times of your life, those are the times where you are shedding all of the things that you no longer need in order to go to the next level of your journey. And we are forced to look at that. And one of the examples that I think of is, because those of you who've been following me know that I'm on a massive decluttering journey of all the things in my house. I guess it was a year and a half ago, we had a huge flood in our basement and we basically got rid of everything in our basement. But the things that were saved, we moved to the upstairs. And so our upstairs still has many things that I have to sort through and go through. And it's really daunting. So I'm going to use this decluttering journey as an analogy for you to kind of paint a picture of what the healing journey might look like, right? So what does it look like? So my vision, of course, is to have a home where I feel spaciousness, right? So my GPS word has been spaciousness for a couple of years now, at least, because I want to feel, and it's connected to freedom. I want to feel spacious. I want to feel not constricted. I don't want to feel like overwhelmed or anxious or, stressing out, right? So for me, the word that came to me was sort of spaciousness, where you feel like you have time to do things. You have room to walk and move, and you feel the space, right? I really, really like that feeling. And so I envision that feeling. Now, I can't feel that in my house if I have like things piled up in every corner, right? So, using the example of what I, share every day here, where I have to take the feeling that I want and bring it into my present. How do I bring spaciousness into my present when I am living in clutter, right? Well, you do it one step at a time, one corner at a time, one, action at a time. That's how you do it. And you always have to do it with the end result in mind, but without pressuring yourself to see the results immediately, because that's where we get caught up. Whoa. Clearly, I agreed with that. That's where we get caught up. We get caught up in seeing immediate results. Like, okay, I want to just go into that closet, immediately take everything out, declutter it, boom, and be done in one day. But sometimes there's a lot more involved than just, one closet or one section or one thing. So using the example of decluttering, right? If you're going to, and I'm just going to use a closet as an example, right? So if I'm going to restructure or reorganize a closet and I want it to be clean and organized and I want to be able to like go in, get what I need and get out, and also maintain that spaciousness within the closet once it's finished. So the first thing you do is you go in and you got to take everything out. Right? Now, you can do it in sections, and this is not an organizational talk, so I'm not even going to talk about how you can declutter appropriately. But let's just think of the grand picture, right? Whenever you're decluttering something, at some point you have to remove everything. You have to take a look at it and say, hey, do I still want this? Is this still valid for me? Do I want to put this back into the closet? Am I going to use it? Is it supportive to me or my journey in any way? If the answer is yes, then you put it in the closet. And then you need to figure out where it fits, right? You need to organize it. But you decide that it stays. And this is what we need to do in our transformational life as well, right? And this is why so many people are going through it right now, because we are all in the midst of this incredible transformation. And when we are in the midst of transformation / our life decluttering, right? A spiritual decluttering, if you want to call it that. Well, then you have to take a look at everything in your life at the moment and remove and release the things that are no longer supportive to your journey from this point forward. Now, that doesn't mean that you discard and forget all the other things, right? We take the lessons with us. We integrate the things that we need, right? And when it's actual things, you look at it and be like, do I need it? No, I don't need it. Do I like it? Do I want to have it? Is it important for me? How can I include it in my life? How can it remain vibrant in my life? And sometimes that can look like many different things, right? When we're talking about actual decluttering, you may want to take a picture and then donate or get rid of it. Or you may want to keep it because you're not ready to release it. And that's okay too, right? At any stage of the journey, when you are not ready to release something, it's okay to give yourself the compassion and the grace to leave it in your life, let it remain until you are certain you're ready to let it go. Because when we're fighting ourselves and when we're shoulding ourselves, we're like, I should let that go. I should feel differently about this. I should have already accomplished this by now. Then all of that is like energetic baggage. It's like energetic traffic on the road of life, right? It's all this stuff that you have in front of you that's stopping you from moving forward because you've decided that you're supposed to be doing something different. But if you can remove that pressure, if you can remove that expectation of what things are supposed to look like, then you can just see it for what it is, just like in a closet, right? Where it's like you're looking at it and going, okay, well, here is this toy. Are my kids old enough to use this toy? Is it still a useful toy in our life? If not, can somebody else use it, donate, get rid of it, whatever, right? But you still can have feelings about that toy and be like, oh, do you remember when they were so little and they used to play with this toy? I love it so much. But you don't need to keep the toy to keep the memory. The memory is still there. The love is still alive, but you need to release the stuff that's not serving you, right? So keeping anything that isn't serving you from this point forward is just weighing you down, right? So this whole conversation is to let you know that during the times that you're struggling, it's like taking the decluttering analogy, right? When you remove everything and you have it all in front of you, it's like piles of stuff. And it's really just daunting and it's overwhelming. And there's so much stuff and it's so messy, right? Like whenever you're organizing something, it's even messier before you organize it. Well, that's why our life can get super, super messy when we are making choices to help us move forward towards our dreams and goals in our life, right? It can get messy to really take a look at your relationships and say, hey, is this a relationship that is working for me or serving me in any way? Is it a good reciprocal relationship? Because it's not about whether or not someone is good for you in the terms of whether or not you can use them for your purposes, but more so, is there a good exchange? Is this relationship beneficial for both of us? And if the relationship isn't beneficial for both, then you need to take a good, long, hard look at whether or not this relationship needs to remain in your life, or if you can disconnect with love and light and compassion, right? Because you can still honor something in your life, even if you've decided that it's no longer for you, right? Just like with stuff, and we can look at something and be like, oh my God, this was my favorite book in the whole world, but I'm done with it and I'm never going to read it again, and I can give it to somebody else, or I can, donate it to a library and someone will, get the benefits of this. Giving that book away doesn't mean I love that book any less. It just means that it's no longer something that I need in my life and I can still love it and release it, right? And I know that, using a book and comparing that to people or situations, is different, but really it's a very simplified version of the energetic facts, right? And if you are not in a good energetic exchange with someone or with a situation, if you're doing something that doesn't feel good to you, then you need to figure out a way how to stop it. Because if it's not feeling good to you and there's no purpose for the future, because there's lots of things that you're going to do that you don't want to do, right? That's why I use the decluttering journey as an example, right? Because who wants to empty out their closet, look at everything, sort through things, and then organize it and put it back? Nobody actually wants to go through that. Well, some people. I have a friend who likes that process. Some people like the process, but if you're like me and you don't like that process and don't look forward to it, well, I totally understand. However, you have to go through that messy part in order to then get the spaciousness, the freedom, and that beautiful feeling at the end where you can look at your life and say, I'm so glad I released those things that no longer served me. Just like when I look at my organized closet and be like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this closet. I walk in and everything in there is organized. Everything in there I know I need or I will be using in the present or in the future. And so there's nothing in there that is not serving me. And that is how we need to create our life. We need to create our life in such a way that everything that we allow within our energetic space is something that we need or that can serve our purpose. And so, sorry, I got some messages. Good morning, Dad. Thank you. I plan to have a beautiful day. And Lynn started taking a picture of my kids' crafts. Yes, right? You can take a picture, you can save it, but you don't need to keep the physical stuff. And the same thing with, what's going on in our lives, right? You can remember a beautiful moment, even with someone in your life who is no longer for you. There's, just things have changed or the relationship is toxic, but at one point maybe it wasn't, or at one point there was a different connection, and you can still love who you were, who you are, what that relationship brought you, and still be ready to let it go because it's time. And believe me, if it's time for you to let go of someone, it's also time for them to let go of you, because there needs to be an energetic match in a relationship, right? It's a two-way street. And if one person is miserable, then both people are going to feel it. So unless you can both get to a place where you can allow for grace and compassion and decide that together it is best, well, then you need to make the decision that works best for you. Okay, anyway, I'm getting distracted from the many conversations in my head. All right, here we go. Just going to continue with the cards, and let's see who's with us today. Did I put the cards backwards again? I sure did. All right. Look at this. Look at this card that showed up right now. Okay, it's Sir Nuno's. I hope I said his name right. Okay, Life Force. Express your driving passion, sensual and sexual powers are increased. I love this card. And you know why I love this card? Because here's the thing, and why I'm obsessed with talking about calibrating your energy. In the process of transformation, when you are releasing the things that don't serve you, when you are disconnecting from relationships that don't serve you, experiences that don't serve you, right? Then what you are doing is you are releasing stuck and heavy energy that has been weighing on you, because everything that you are involved with takes part of your energy. And if it's something that you are not enthusiastic about or something that is not in alignment with your highest and greatest good, then you just feel weighed down, and it prevents you from moving forward. It prevents you from achieving the things that you want to achieve. And so look at this. Sir Nuno's is Life Force, right? So when you start to detach yourself from the things that are preventing your life force from flowing, what happens? Well, once you start removing those things, then you are able to get into the momentum. You are able to feel the energy flowing through you, right? And what happens? Well, there's an increase of sensual and sexual powers. I'm not even joking you, because sensuality and sexuality is connected to creation. And it can be sensual and sexual and really not have anything to do with person-to-person sex. It's simply that feeling of creation, that feeling of, oh, I'm connected to something, I feel something, I am totally like turned on by this idea in my life, and you go after it like you would go after someone you're interested in, right? You go after it like it's the only thing you want. And when that's the case and you are super clear in what you want and super clear as to where you are headed, well, then you are able to disconnect from anything that does not serve that purpose. I mean, think for a moment in terms of relationships, right? And I use this as an example, but I use relationships as an example, but you can insert any life situation, whether it's a business, whether it's your job, whether it's, whatever. When you see someone that you immediately connect with and you're like, oh my God, that person is exactly who I've been looking for, then you can zero in and you're focused on that person and you pursue that person and you're committed to that person, right? And if somebody else comes up to you and tries to distract you or get your attention, I mean, you may have a chat with them, but you're like, no, I don't want this. I'm focused on that, right? This is what we need to do, that same laser focus with whatever business idea has been brewing up inside of you, whatever personal accomplishment you're looking to accomplish. If you really want it, you have to zero in on it, stay focused, and do not allow anything or anyone to distract you from that goal. You will be distracted, you will have challenges, there will be obstacles, right? But even all of those things, and it will take a lot of work, time, dedication, and commitment. But when it's like, yes, I'm going to do it because my end result is this person, my end result is this situation, my end result is this goal which I will achieve, well, then why wouldn't you go through it? Why wouldn't you? Then you're motivated to go through the messiness because you're like, this is messy right now, but I'll do it, I'll do it later. Right? People who train for a marathon, that training in the middle is no fun when you're trying to increase your capacity to breathe and to last. And when you're working on your endurance, you have to push yourself beyond the point where you're comfortable. You have to constantly push past your comfort zone. But why do you do it? Because the end result means you get to finish that race. So that's what you need to do in your life each and every day is say, I'm finishing that race and this is where I'm headed and I know exactly how I'm going to get there. And then the rest of your life, you're working on the endurance, you're working on the dedication, you're working on the commitment. And that's how you train for this life experience, right? Is to never give up your vision and continue to prepare yourself for the journey ahead, have everything you need, and stay on task. Okay, so this was my little sermon for today. I hope it was hopeful. Yes, I hope it was hopeful, and I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to go to my YouTube page on Jumpstart for Change, and please subscribe, ding that notification bell, and I will be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. as I am every Monday through Friday on YouTube and Facebook. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining me.